I've got my sinus is killing me. It's 3 in the morning, but you know what? It's the Batman. And I just got home from a screening and I just want to talk about it while my thoughts are still fresh. This is going to be much more of a free flow sort of review. Normally, I have a whole script written out, put it on a teleprompter on my phone camera, and then I'm just reading it out. That's how the magic happens. What director Matt Reeves and his team have done is sort of concoct the most faithful to the source material Batman story that I've ever seen put on screen. This Batman has an inner monologue. There is a narrative voice, and the movie is completely focused on Batman as a character. Robert Pattinson as Batman is I was gonna say great, but then I think about it because this story of the story of the Batman is set in year two of this version of Batman be operating as Batman. So I just feel like I've said Batman a lot. And since it's the year two version of the story, Bruce Wayne still hasn't figured out the multiple different personas that you see in other iterations of the character. So in various other iterations of the characters, including the comic books, there are basically three versions of Batman, right? There is the man in the mask, there's the Batman with the full suit and everything, how he appears to criminals and how he interacts with the police officers in said suit. Then there's Bruce Wayne, the playboy philanthropist, and then there's Bruce Wayne at home, the real Bruce Wayne who interacts with Alfred. Now, in this version of Batman, you don't really see the playboy philanthropist version of the character. You see a lot of Bruce Wayne in the Batman costume, which I think 90% of the time he's in the Batman costume, which Robert Pattinson does a great job with. And the rest of the time you see him as Bruce Wayne, but this Bruce Wayne is still brooding outside the costume. So essentially, it's just a whole lot of brooding, which I get it. I mean, he's a tortured soul. He's still getting over, the tragedies, which for those of you who've been living under a rock, I'm not going to spoil what Bruce Wayne's tragedy is, which I think everybody knows. Overall, I think Robert Pattinson as Batman has done a good job. Another thing that I really enjoyed was Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon and Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. And also, Robert Pattinson's Batman's interactions with these characters, I think, was really well done. And I think a lot of development was given to Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman character, which was really fulfilling to see. And I might even argue that her journey, her story arc in this film is actually a lot more emotionally fulfilling in a way than Batman's is in some ways. The true standout, though, as far as performances are concerned, was Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, which, by the way, have you seen how Colin Farrell looks? He is unrecognizable under all those prosthetics as the Penguin. And the fact that even under all those prosthetics that his performance was able to come through is both a testament to Colin Farrell's acting ability and also whoever the makeup artist was, which I think I might have to look up. I'll put it on the screen once I find it, because my goodness, what an amazing job. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this movie was the cinematography by Greg Fraser. The cinematography here is astounding. Obviously, since the film really focuses on Batman as a detective first rather than a superhero, the film has a style, a tone, and I'm talking visually at least, a visual style and visual tone that's reminiscent of detective stories like Zodiac and Seven. Basically anything done by David Fincher, which was very clearly an influence on this film and the way it was shot. Obviously, the cinematography and how great the cinematography is directly ties into my next strength that this film has. It's more a sequence that I absolutely loved more than like one significant, like a broader strength per se, which is there is a Batmobile sequence in this film, or as I would like to call it, a Bat Mustang sequence, because let's face it, that the Batmobile in this film is basically a souped up Mustang. But there is a chase sequence with the Batmobile in this film, which is, oh my god, it's probably the most excited I've been seeing of the Batmobile chase something in a film. And that includes the Batmobile chase in The Dark Knight. It's just adrenaline pumping. It's just got this really high intensity. It made me feel the same way that I did when I saw some of the chase sequences in Mad Max Fury Road. Let's put it that way. And I saw it in IMAX, and you could actually feel the thunderous roar of the engines of the Batmobile. It actually felt angry in some way. But having said that, I must also say that the film isn't really action-packed per se. It's a story that deliberately takes its time to tell its tale, which is where my sort of negatives sort of start coming in, which is basically I don't think the film needed it. The film is 3 hours long, by the way, and I don't think it needed to be that long. I felt like the overall storyline, while good, while very well told and executed, could have been tightened up a bit. To the point, what tends to happen is, because of its pacing and because of the movie's length, it it sort of feels like there are multiple endings to the movie, whereas where you sort of feel the film is coming to a close and you're getting ready to, okay, fine, the film is coming to a close, and then no, it's still going, and then you feel, okay, but even though it's still going, the film is still good, so you're still engaged, but and again the film feels like it's coming to an end, but no, then again it's going. So there are a lot of these stop start feels that you get throughout this film, which I think sort of took something away from the overall experience, and I think might affect my enjoyment even more when I start rewatching this movie. Which I will definitely rewatch this movie because I'm a huge Matt Reeves fan, and I'm a student of his work essentially. He's a filmmaker with such a unique eye and vision for what he does. But yeah, so that was sort of my biggest negative per se. And also I feel like the Riddler, while very well executed and performed by Paul Dano, I feel like he could have left a little more of an impact than he did in this movie. There was no moment where you just sort of looked at him and his demeanor and his whole plan in sort of like the same sort of terrorized awe that you feel in some other better Batman movies or Batman fare. The thing is, whenever I say Batman movies, don't just assume that I'm talking about the live action fare, because some of the best Batman movies out there are animated. For those of you who haven't seen it, you should definitely check out Batman Mask of the Phantasm and Batman Under the Red Hood. These two are, in my opinion, the gold standard of Batman movies, live action or animated, and I think you should check them out. The one thing that I think I forgot to mention on the positive side is the ending. I think while the third act is sort of many people have pointed out their issues with third act, I actually liked the third act because I thought I liked the way it set Batman up, and in fact I actually felt the weakest act of this film was probably its second, which is where I felt most of the pacing issues to be. But the third act was something that I actually really enjoyed as a lifelong comic book fan, and I really liked the way the film ends and where it leaves Gotham and where it leaves Batman and all the other characters, and I can't wait to see where Matt Reeves and his team takes this character. I just hope that the thing is, I'm also kind of wary because the film feels like it's trying really hard to make everything feel grounded, like to the point where instead of Batman actually gliding using his cape, he uses like a makeshift wingsuit that's sort of built into his own suit, and I'm like, when I was watching that, I really liked those sequences, by the way, and I thought the sequence was very well done. But I also felt, Batman has a lot of fantastical villains that aren't really grounded. Like Mr. Freeze is an amazing villain. Clayface is an amazing villain. Poison Ivy is an amazing villain. But those are all fantastic villains in nature. And if you're committed to just keeping Batman grounded all the time, which by the way, we already had 3 movies with Batman being grounded, and if you're going to keep committing to only that aesthetic, you're sort of losing out on a lot of potentially amazing storylines. And I hope that they don't go down that route again, because I really would love to see a Batman versus Mr. Freeze story done right. Not Batman and Robin, please. That's not what I'm talking about.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
Overall, my thoughts, I feel the film is really well done, and I feel it's a really good movie, and I think it's definitely worth watching in theaters. And if you can watch it in IMAX, even if it's just for that one Batmobile sequence, because I think boy, that was one for the ages. So yeah, have you watched The Batman yet? Let me know if you have. Comment below, let me know. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate all your support so far on this channel, and hoping to keep coming up with new videos and hopefully not take too long a break like I did with this one. So yeah, until next time. The one thing I still haven't figured out is how to end these videos.